Okay, so I have so many things I want to talk about. So I'm starting super early. I bet you my eyes are getting to be such dark circles because I still, the things that with my vision is still my up close vision, especially because in order to read comments, I have to put on my magnifying ones. And that really messes with my eyes. I don't like to wear any kind of glasses at all because it really messes with your, eyes. I've been able to see that. Especially when that shaman person had told me, when she was doing that whole clearing on me, and she kept going on my eyes and kept going on my eyes, and she was talking to me about them, and she said, you got to quit wearing those lenses. It makes your eyes weaker. And it makes them, I feel like I look so strange because, I don't know, maybe I do. I just put all the oil on my face, probably super shiny. My eyes feel like they're barely open. I've been up since 2:30 and I had so many things I want to talk about. It's only 5 o'clock right now. But I keep having so many things. It's like I have to, the thing that looks weird is I feel like I look like a plastic, like Ken doll. I keep looking like, and I keep thinking, well, it's got to be my eyes, but I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I look like a plastic Ken doll. I swear to God, everything is just turning into something that is not real. I'm having the weirdest glitches. I'm having weird shit that just keeps going on and going on. And so I have so many things I want to say and talk about. It was like, oh my God, I got to go and start recording because my brain becomes so full. And I swear sometimes the more it feels like it gets like, sometimes it feels like the whole world out there is yelling things into your ears. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it starts feeling like a tornado in there. Like, I got to talk about some of this so I can get it out of there. Because I'm not kidding. Mine is nonstop. I think people just don't realize. Because I swear to God, I think people just think that they just formulate thoughts in their head. They're just formulating things. And this is one thing that I found interesting. Because there's so much talk of manifestation and meditation and, fantasy and stuff like that. And so the thing is so I just heard this lady talking about, we need to put down our devices, which, yeah, I've said that for a long time. I totally agree. And one of the reasons they want your consciousness so stuck on it is because you're not creating for yourself. You're just, being a part of their world. So you're not creating your own life. You're not thinking about your own life or something. So anyways, I was thinking about this because to me, like when I was a kid and I would be in school and I said, that I was usually not even in class. I was somewhere else, always. And it would always be very jarring when something would happen in the class and would pull me back in. I'd be like, oh my God, I don't even know what the hell's going on in here. But I would go to all different worlds. Like, it was like going into dreams. It wasn't going into like fantasy, like, where do I want to go with my life? Oh, I think I'll be president. I think I'll go be, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like fantasizing, manifesting. It was different. It was actually just leaving, like when you're in a dream and your consciousness just leaves your body and goes out and experiences, it doesn't need the body, like, at all. So it goes out and, just experiences. And I would do that in class. I could be sitting there in class and seem to be in class, but I wasn't there at all. And that's why I said it's like a being in two places at once kind of gift or something. So this woman was talking about this manifestation. And to me, and I don't know how everybody's mind works. I mean, what she's talking about could be so helpful for some people that it just pulls them right in like, oh, I get it. Light bulb. Because we're all talking on these frequencies. It isn't so much the words we speak, it's the frequency that we either are in alignment or we're not. And so that's why I said a long time ago, somebody could hear me talk and hear totally different things. It depends on how you listen and break down the words, but some people are hearing on another level. It's not on the level of the words. They just understand. Like I say something and the vision goes into their head. A connection happens. you know, so we connect on all different levels. So everybody is valid. I have this other guy. It used to be nerdy white guy. Now it's this other guy named Scott. He's nice as can be. He's really outspoken. I think he has AIDS. I'm pretty sure I heard him say that one day. And he kind of reminds me of like the 80s kind of gay guys that I would be around or something. Especially back in that. I don't know. That just goes together in my mind somehow. It just puts it together. So anyways, and I could go off on all that. I was thinking so much about that yesterday. Like, I'm telling you, they really clog up my mind with a lot of stuff. So, anyways, he keeps doing these duet things with me or something. Like or it's a stitch, like something I'll talk about. He'll take my video and then he'll add or discuss or say his opinion or whatever. And his opinions are different, but what I say brings something up in him that gets him thinking about something, or he aligns with or whatever, and then it gives him more. And so then he says something, and he's not always I don't think some of the stuff I say, I think, you know, he's responding and he doesn't really know like what I'm talking about on like people on here, I think, that have been watching me for a long time, like Vortex. Like, I think she gets where I'm coming from because she has listened to me for a long time. So she would understand. And like somebody who just started listening to me, they could think just one thing is everything and not know all the other stuff because, you know, there's a lot more stuff. I don't know. Anyways, I think I'm making sense. I don't even know if I'm making sense. I feel like I'm all over the place. I swear to God, I feel like it is a challenge for me to stay present and to put everything together. I feel like everything is so chaotic and so crazy. So anyways, I'm all over the place and I've got a bunch of stuff I want to say. So let me try and keep focused on what the hell and quit going. I go into my fucking explanations about everything. So anyways, that guy, when he did that and he was like, it was something about the reset with the money. And I was saying the pendulum's going to swing back. And when it swings back, the energy is going to, you know, put everything in the other direction. And we're going to go the other direction. But also we have, our priorities are changing because of the trauma we're going through. And we're beginning to understand what's important. So money won't have the same value, the same relevance in our lives as it once did. Even though we will be a lot more accessible and our resources and stuff will be more accessible, it won't have the same significance to us. And so somebody who's listened to me for a long time would know, you know, that is what I have been saying. He comes in and he starts just saying that they broke the pendulum. They keep swinging it. We are breaking out of a money system. We don't want their money system. And so he was explaining something in just a different way. Like so I was like, I don't think he really gets what I'm saying. He definitely doesn't get what I've said in long, you know, he's basing it on some little clip or something. So anyways, and I think he thought he was kind of being mean, and maybe he was like, dude, I don't know. A lot of people, I shouldn't complain because it gets more people to see my stuff when somebody does that kind of stuff, but it can be triggering. That's where I said you get all these battles on TikTok between these groups because it can be triggering when somebody is taking your video and then somehow discounting what you're saying or not shaming you, but like, well, you're kind of right, but I'm more right. Kind of like that, you know? And so I was just like, you know, it kind of triggered me for a second because triggers will always come. You don't get away from triggers. It's how you deal with them when you get them. You just become more able to go through them. Like when you start facing them, it's a lot. You have to really go in deep and you release so much out of you. And you release and you recognize who you are and you forgive yourself and you learn to love yourself. And then as triggers come, it's just, to me, it gets easier and easier and easier. So he triggered me So I always know, you know, you don't just jump in and react. You don't go, well, I say, you know, you're just kind of like, okay, so how am I feeling about this? What is it that's bothering me? What's bringing, you know, what's percolating in there? And to me, it's always ego. It's always somebody has hit your ego. Somebody's trying to say you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not, you know, pretty enough, whatever. It's always, that's where we feel, is like we're not good enough in some way or another. And so, you know, I went and I go and I process the thought. And then I think, I swear to God, because I don't believe that I'm just formulating thoughts, even though my one daughter says that that is the weirdest thing she ever heard. I don't. This is how I perceive life in the world. And so then they'll tell me something like, I don't know, like a proverb or a moral or something. Like they'll give me some sort of thing that I'll see it. And a lot of times they'll give me my response. They'll just tell me. And it was like in the response, I will understand. And it is like, oh. So anyways, I just, I processed the whole thought through of him saying that, how it made me feel. Why would I be triggered? You know, his stuff is just as valid as mine. It's just opinions. It's just how we look at things. It's how we perceive. And so then, and at the end, I mean, I think he felt kind of guilty or something because he goes, I love you. You know, like, I like you. People do that all the time in these stitches. You know, I really like you a lot, but I just got to say, they do it all the time. So anyways, he goes, so after he said that, you know, and I was thinking, you know, I know he likes me. He's always in my stuff and commenting and stuff. And a lot of times I don't go and watch all his videos because he'll go on and on and on. Kind of like me. I'll just go on and on and on. I'll talk that 3 minutes. They even told me I was going to have an option for talking 10 minutes. So I was like, no, I'll do that on my YouTube. Oh my gosh. I get too much of my own self sometimes. So anyways, when I went in and I just liked it and I didn't comment or anything. And then I went and processed, which I would say it probably took me like 4 minutes, because I'm not shitting you. You really do get past the part of being in your bed crying all day. Like you do get to a part where it just starts, the things start coming to you. It's just like you just turn something on different as you process. As you start to learn to process in a certain way, you just turn it on and it starts getting easier and easier and easier and easier. But you got to get over the hump. You got to get rid of all of the dust in the system, kind of, by dealing with your pain and suffering, your trauma, your skeletons, your demons, all that. So anyways, they just told me to say, it wasn't like they just told me. It was like I felt it too. I knew it. And then they tell me, and they do that all the time. I swear to God, they let me process and let me see. And then they tell me something. But anyways, I just commented and I said, all perspectives are valid. Like, I mean, literally all perspectives are valid. There is nobody who is better, smarter, or knows more, especially for somebody else. The only person you know more for is yourself. You don't know more for somebody. It is very arrogant to think, like right now where all these people are really stuck in ego, like, oh, I'm so much better than them. They're asleep. Why can't they just wake up? They're just too stupid. It's like, well, if you understand that their soul is making these choices, they're here on a script. They can't do anything about this. Their soul has a plan in their awakening of what traumas that they want to deal with so that they can awaken and heal from those traumas. And that's why there's such a versatility in all of the things that are happening for people, because it's each person's soul made these choices for how they want to awaken. It has it's just so arrogant. I mean, even like with Stella, you know, when I deal with her sickness and stuff, because she still keeps doing this crying and stuff. And then I have to keep reminding myself, you know, she is a soul, same as me. There is no difference. You know, she's in a 4-legged creature. I'm in a 2. She's always impressed by that too. Like she really thinks, oh my God, I can stand up on 2. And you know what I was really noticing, because, you know, I don't sleep with clothes on. And at 2:30, you know, when I come out here, and it was just this morning, I thought about it, but I think it's probably one of those epiphanies I have all the time. But it's just funny when you walk around with no clothes and she's sitting there. Sometimes I think she looks at me and she's always thinking, you know, it's strange how I have to go put on clothes. Like, why can't I just walk around in my natural body like she does? And sometimes I'll put clothes on, or, you know, I'll put a little scarf and I'll be like, oh my gosh, you're so fancy. And, you know, she'll act like, oh yeah, I am fancy. I got clothes on too. But I really think it just really struck me last night where it was like, it's kind of weird. There is no other animal that has to put on clothes. Like, it's very strange, like how they shamed us from the beginning. And it is almost, it starts the consumerism of you must go buy clothes and cover yourselves. I mean, it's one thing if we want to cover ourselves to be warm, or, you know, if we want to cover ourselves. But this social shaming into having to be dressed is just as strange when you think about it, you know, because we are animals and we should be free to live however the hell we want to live. If we want to walk around naked and, you know, have our skin like the naked cats and stuff, like, I don't know. There's just something that's controlled and strange about it. So, but also, so the lady who was talking about this manifesting, or no, she was talking about being on your device and not going into your own creative fantasy of creating your future or something. And so I was thinking, well, it's weird because when I manifest, I do it different than that. Like manifesting, which right now, you never know if your manifestations will play out the way you want. It will play out in some way that will be good. Like it'll be directed in that direction. But it may not play out exactly like how you imagine. And that's why I always get super excited, like when they do. But you know, because I keep looking around, you know, and I see all of this stuff complete that I want to do. And I've done this the whole time while I've been here. I see something and then it just becomes, and maybe I have to do some work to get it there. But it is, when you kind of get in sync, it just doesn't feel like that. It is like you are creating your manifestation or something. I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, so I look around all the time at the house and I see like the stuff that I want done. And then as over the past few months, as everything has started dying around me, like every time I go in my yard, I find another dead tree. My yard is so full of dead tree debris. It's crazy. And it just has an energy. It has a feeling, you know, and my trees are covered with this white stuff. And you keep seeing it, like people keep showing on the leaves and stuff. I saw a guy yesterday who was and he was in Canada, so right over here, where I'm sure that we're getting sprayed with the same shit, especially because the plane is coming from Canada and spraying me. So he was showing his leaves and he was watering them because they had that white stuff and they just were disintegrating. And I saw yesterday, or this morning, I think, of a guy doing footage of this weird sound coming out of the ground by the tree. Like the tree was crying or something. It's like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. But when I started going out and everything started dying around me, and for the past couple days, all of my stuff, my deck, my porch, everything, I'll step down and it's like it kind of sinks. Like everything is just getting really wobbly and breaking and stuff. And I keep thinking, man, I feel like energetically this is ending here. I mean, even on the doomsday map it shows. So, but I feel it kind of crumbling under my feet. It's weird. And I keep trying to stay on my vision, but literally, you know, that's out of my control. That's what I said like months ago. It's weird how you can have certain things, but some of these things are just so out of your control. You know, if I had my control, you know, I'd finish my house. I would have, you know, just my trees would be good. You know, Stella would be healthy. So anyways, you know, I believe there's things that are out of our control. So now is just like, man, I don't know if that if it is, all of this is going to be, I mean, I know that I'm not here for this isn't my forever place. It's been the greatest place for my healing, though, and it's really has helped me so much with my, they even told me that yesterday, because I'm starting to just be like really quick, know exactly like what they're saying, what they mean and stuff like that. And, but I do the challenges. I challenge myself, even with my phone. If I hear it ding, I will tune into my phone and see who it is on the phone before I go, and then I'll check and see. And I would say probably, I don't know, 95%, 99% of the time I'm right. So, but that is a practice. That is something that I talk about, you know, practicing with those abilities. It's just like going to the gym. You have to practice. So anyways, back to the lady. So her saying that and talking about manifesting and people going into meditation. Instead, put your phone down and meditate and think about your own life. Go into your own fantasy and manifest what you want in your life, your stuff. And I was thinking it's so strange too, because when I don't go into meditation, they just show me stuff and talk to me and tell me things. But when they are showing me stuff, it's not stuff I'm coming up with. Like some of the stuff that they show me, it's like, how would I have ever even thought of this? Like there's certain people that they show me. I was like, well, I would have never thought of that. Like, how would I have thought of that? Like they're showing me. And so I was thinking, I mean, it's different for everybody, I imagine. But for me, it is kind of like they show me my future. And then it is, to me, also, this is something they've shown me. You choose your timeline, how you're going to approach what you're doing. Do you need to learn from it, or are you empowered or whatever? So you choose like a timeline kind of idea, but not, I think some people go kind of like a little too far on that. It's kind of like choosing the lesson plan of how you approach a situation. And so to me, they're showing me what my future is. I'm not creating it. When I'm manifesting things around me, like things that I want, you know, like I wanted a dresser that would fit. And so I kept seeing what I wanted. I kept seeing what I wanted. And then I'm walking down the street and there's the dresser sitting there at the end of somebody's driveway. So I grab it and take it home, clean it, scrub it, sand it, stain it, and have the dresser, you know. And it was just like what I had envisioned. And same with my fence, like same with the trip. You see something and you just go into it. You just start doing it and let the universe follow along. But there is also, they show me those things, like, you know, I mean, like when I look at the fence and I see, you know, I want a fence. I want, you know, to feel safe in my yard. I don't want people just to walk through it. Like when I first moved here and what people complained about on Nextdoor all fucking time. These people out here, they're just, it's just weird. So wanting that fence for my own safety. So are they giving me that kind of, you know, you need to make sure you're safe. You know, start looking out there, start seeing a fence because, you know, you need to get a fence. Start putting your energy towards this fence. Or am I looking out there going, oh, I'm in danger. I need a fence. I better start, you know, where is that all of it come from? You know, it is, it's all in our perception of how we go through the world. It's all in our perception of how the language we're spoken from our higher self, our guides or something, you know. It's all in how we perceive. Because literally we're just, it's kind of like we are just thought moving through space and time, you know. It is, yesterday I had this thing, you know, I went to the store in the morning. I don't know, maybe I already told y'all this. I don't know. I get confused. See, I can't do more of those 10-minute. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't know who the hell I was saying what. I would just be talking all the time and I'd probably be saying the same thing. So anyways, I went to town, you know, and I went and got some joints. I got like a couple weeks worth. And then we went to the river. Stella got out of the car. She got in the car, got out of the car at the river, walked around. She was stumbly. And there was some weird stuff at the river, really weird. There was even a point where there was a couple fishermen, and I said, is the water really low or something? This is weird. Like, I haven't been there since last summer, I think. I think all of this one has been Stella being sick. So when I went with my daughter and we were going down there all the time, it just seemed really different. Like it seemed really different. Like something was messed with. It was weird. I was like, okay, well, just ignore that, because there's just something that just keeps switching when I go places. It's just not the same place as it was the last time. It's just weird. So, anyways, she was kind of stumbling around there, and then she, went up some hills and stuff, and she did kind of some running. And she's really sore right now. I keep trying to tell her, this is what happens. You went and got a lot of exercise. You get sore every time you do. And she just gets so like, wow, she just whines and cries. She is such a little drama princess. So anyways, but she did really good. And then she went back and got in the car, and then she got out of the car at home too. The last time when I took her, she wouldn't get out of the car. I ended up having to pull it up to the porch and let her get out onto the porch. She wouldn't get out of the car. And so yesterday she got right out. So she's doing way better, but she was definitely like stumbly. Like it seemed like something's off with her vision or her equilibrium from her maybe ear stuff. I hope it's not a brain tumor. I mean, it worries me with these strange smells and stuff, but I just keep doing the chemical detoxes and stuff like that, because that, I mean, all the cancer is caused by chemicals and stuff. You know, I'm not going to go and have them give more chemicals. I'm just going to keep trying to detox the chemicals she has in her. But I have to also trust she's a soul, and she knows when she's ready to go. I can't do anything about it, you know. Even though you just want to beg them to stay with you forever, you know, she, you know, once her contract is done, she's going to go about her business and come back. I saw a really cool story the other day where a girl said she had one of these relationships. You know, anybody who's had these experiences with these strong relationships with the animal, and see how you could cross over like that into another species and love them just like they're your own kid. And this girl was talking about that, and then hers died, and she was talking about, you know, she had a baby die, or she had a child die. I don't know how old the kid. She said, I've lost a child and my dog, and people, whatever, she was talking about the gravity of each loss. And she said that definitely losing the dog was just as painful as losing the child. She said there was no difference. It was just as painful. And that's what I thought too, because I've lost a grandchild, and it was painful for me. It was hard. It took a long time to get over. And she comes all the time. You know, she's very still involved with our family. But it took a long time to get over. But the thing as a grandma to me was I was so much more concerned with my daughter. Like, just, I couldn't even imagine the pain she was going through. And that's when she became an addict. Like, she had to really go through it. And that is something Olivia said, too, was, that's, you know, she would have come and been born. It wasn't in her control. It was those lessons. Because everything is destiny. There's nothing you can do about it. And, anyways, so... And you know what's weird too is when the medium was talking to my grandparents, my one grandma said that me and Olivia, the grandchild that she didn't never get to come to life, she was born dead. So she was, that her and I are from the same place. She's told that of the medium. That me and Olivia are the same, of the same place or the same or something. So then I, you know, once as this awakening has been going, you know, and you learn more about this starseed concept and stuff, and my thing about the Pleiades or whatever, I was like, so I wonder if her and I are from there. Like, I wonder how this all works. because I feel so sure that I have some connection to that. You know, I'm so excited to start really understanding about, you know, who and what we are and what we're doing here and all of this stuff. So there's so much to find out. And so anyways, while I was driving, we went down there and we got that stuff, and I went and I got some orange juice and half, which be careful, don't fill up your fridge, because I keep hearing that we're not even going to have power. So, you know, you can go fill up your fridge, and then you got to think of how you're going to cook. Like, if you're just going to have, like, I've got beans and crackers, you know, if it comes down to it, you know, when you can't cook, you can't do anything. Open a can of beans and eat some crackers and beans like they did back when they were surviving other things. So, you know, because I have all these dry beans, well, you can't cook them up ahead. Beans go bad fast. I have a generator. Probably, you know, my neighbor, she would put hers on, her generator, because they've got all the whole family. So I would just ask if I could plug into hers and then not turn mine on just to cook some beans or something. But I have cans of beans, you know, I don't know. It's just not something that you can sit and stress about, but it could be a couple weeks with no power. And so just be careful filling up your fridge and freezer, thinking like, oh, I got to be stocked up. I mean, that emergency food is, you know, where you just need water, because you can start a fire or heat up water and pour it on that emergency dry food, whatever. So anyways, you know, whatever it's going to be, it's not going to be our life forever. It's going to be temporary. It's going to be figured out kind of situation. But while I was driving, and I always get in these meditations when every time you're doing something mindless, to me, I'm immediately in some sort of meditation. Like I get more where I'm seeing inside my head than I'm seeing outside of my head. And while I'm driving, I have to really keep pulling myself, grounding back into the driving. And it's so funny too, because they always tell me that there's nothing I don't need to watch while I'm driving like that. Like, I think, you know, you can drive on autopilot and nothing's going to happen that's not supposed to happen. Like, you're always taken care of. It's just like you're on a track. There's nothing, you know, but we get all like, ah. So they're always telling me, you know, I can relax, but still I get like, oh no, wait, I might miss a turn. I might go off the road. You know, I'm always like, I get kind of nervous. But anyway, so they were telling me, and they were showing me, which is weird enough. It was like the picture is exactly what I'm talking about on the fucking TV right now. But, and so if you think about inside of our body, how everything works, and how if you were to go inside, like, remember that cartoon? I think it was like, it wasn't a cartoon, it was a movie, but it was called, I think, Tron. And then I think it made a little scientist or something and shrunk him way down and then put him inside, and then he went in the body, and it was like, and you know, if you were real tiny, a bacteria or something could be a big monster. Like, even when they show you like what a lice looks like or something under a microscope, and you see, like, if you were real tiny and you're looking up and you're seeing the things, then you see it in a different perspective. Just like yesterday, this was interesting, because we went out on the couch, and I have this one spider that keeps just going around on all my lights. I'm always out there talking to him, and I'll tell him, you got to move, because he'll block my way. And I gave him a couple days to eat, but then he listens to me and he moves. But so yesterday he had moved, and he was like, I didn't see him. The way they are colored, and the way that they go way up there with their web, and then the way that their coloring is, they blend so much into the tree. I could see if you're any flying bug, you would not see them at all by perspective, because you would be flying, you would not see. And the sun has to hit the web just right to give that little shine, to give that glare. But the body of the spider is so blended into the trees. It's trippy, but I was thinking about that with the bugs. And then Stella came over, and she laid down on the couch right under the spider. And Stella had no mind of the spider. So her conscious awareness had no mind. There's nothing to worry about. What she would be worried about is she's always scanning like big word sounds. She's always listening to what's going on in the neighborhood. She's always looking, you know, for something moving and stuff. So she's looking for something big. And so her perspective of what she's paying attention to, she's not even thinking about this spider. She has no awareness the spider is right above her. Not even a thought of it. And so there's no fear. She has no fear of this little thing. And not only that, spiders hitch rides on dogs all the time. They get into the house by hitching a ride on the dogs all the time. And so, and in the perspective, I was thinking, so when the spider is up there looking down, how huge, you know, in the colors and stuff, and what Stella and I would look like to the spider down below the spider and the danger. So it's just weird, this whole like cycle or circle of life I'm sitting there thinking about with this spider and perspective and stuff. So inside your body, it is that same thing. It is the micro macro. It is by perspective. And so if you were inside is something tiny, like even a cell, a bacteria, anything that is tiny inside of you, everything is massive. Just as we believe that is the solar system. But really, we are inside of a body. It's the exact same thing as what is inside of us. So everything is the same around us that's inside of us. And so when we go out into the world, like if you think about inside of you, everything is alive and everything needs everything else to work together. And there has to be a rhythm. There has to be these cycles that occur inside of you to keep everything going. And so it is like the same kind of thing outside of you. Everything is alive. Everything needs everything else. It all works as cycles. And so, you know, where people get really caught up, like, you know, could you imagine if your cells inside your body, like your cells in your spleen, started stressing out about the cells in the liver. And we're like, man, we don't understand those ones. You know, I don't know what they're doing over there. But, you know, I don't think that we need those ones over there, you know. And the battle inside, if that were to occur, how that would affect you. If your body started fighting against itself. And that is kind of what it goes on when people, that it's energetic, it's so much bigger. So it's not as affected as in the micro. But the energy that is put out, like even to me, where people get so focused on the aliens and, you know, so many people with this monsters and stuff like that, and demons is the thing. So many people think aliens are demons. They don't think that they're just living beings, living souls out having, they can't imagine the liver cells are as important as the spleen cells. You know what I mean? They can't even grasp it. And that is, energetically, that is a problem in the system. So in the awakening, it is the realization how the whole system must work together and has to come together. And we have to see we aren't just a spleen over here by itself, just living its life, working all by itself, and there's just darkness around us. No, there's a whole system that works together. And all of that system has consciousness, and everything is consciousness. So that system is constantly communicating to itself. And that is where we get our thoughts and stuff. It's our connection to the system. I mean, so many people, they just start thinking like their thoughts are just their own thoughts. They're just there sitting there manufacturing thoughts, which I keep saying, start asking yourself questions then. Because do you answer your own questions too? So, anyways, you know, when they were showing me that, I was like, it was like a good analogy or something, because it is so true. And it is so much about how the people think like that they're the cells that only matter. And they don't realize. And you know what's really something too, was I keep seeing these pictures of rock formations, I guess, that look like a person sitting there, laying there, giant, giant, giant person. And, you know, I just think about, like, I have always thought ever since I was a kid that we're really, really tiny. And there's so much stuff bigger, just like how the spider, we're probably more of the bug flying into the web. We don't see everything. And we just go straight into the web and have to be devoured. We have to create more awareness for ourselves so that we understand all of the different sizes and the formation of experience. You know, the spider's experience is just as important as Stella's, is just as important as mine. I was sitting there watching. I'm always talking to the spider. Oh, there's a hair or something tickling my nose. I'm always talking to the spider. And, but when he was out there, I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, it's really quite extraordinary how they sit there just making their web all day, like a fisherman weaving its net all day. Like every morning, this fisherman having to get up and go out and weave its whole net, and then go and sit all day long with his net out, waiting for maybe one little catch. And then some of them, they have to kind of fight the catch. Like it goes into a battle. Man, I saw a spider and a bee one day out there battling. But that was last summer. I haven't even, I don't even know if I maybe I've seen one bee this summer. I keep hearing buzzing and stuff, but every time I look, it's a fly. So, anyways, the spider howl will sit there with its net out all day. And the nets, they're so cool too, because they make sound. Like I've walked through them a lot of times, and there's like guitar strings. They make sound, and they are glistening. They have got so much color, like the spectrum of color is in the web. And when the sun hits it and it glistens out, it sparkles with so much color. It's so pretty. But it sits there patiently waiting all day long for its thing. And normally it's, you know, its web gets destroyed and it has to do another one. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, I find them so fascinating. And I would totally like to go back and live a life like that. And you know what? It was something sad. This was so sad. It was like tragic. And we all like, you know, it was like when this happened, everybody was like, oh, like in the whole line. But up there at the food bank the other day, outside they have this rack where you can go up and you can get stuff off this rack if you know, are just going by. There's just food out there. And so people can leave food or take food off of this rack. And so we're all standing out there waiting in the line, and everybody's talking, and it was windy. It was so cold. And so I think everybody's talking about, you know, it's freezing or whatever. So something about the spider starts going from over there and was behind the rack. So they pulled the rack out and was letting the spider go. And it was huge. And he's just trucking. And we're all watching him. He's trucking along. And this lady who comes over to open the door to let us in, you know, because there's a cricket too. So somebody's talking about this cricket. And we're all watching this spider as it's trucking, trying to find, you know, shelter, because they just moved its shelter. And she's walking. It was like a movie. Oh, I couldn't believe it. She just stepped right down on it and crushed the spider. And it was huge. And we all gasp and we all like moan, everybody at one time. And we were all like traumatized. Everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe you killed the spider. Even the old Russian man. He's like, I was telling you, look where you're going. And she goes, I was looking at the cricket. I was like, oh my God. She was standing over them when they let the spider out. She said, I didn't know it got all the way over here already. So she wasn't even looking. I was like, oh my gosh. It was so sad, the spider. But anyways, I mean, everything needs a way out. I mean, you know, when you see a squirrel killed on the side of the road, you figure, like, probably was committing suicide. It was probably like, I need out of here. Which, by the way, now in Canada, they not only can you, but they promote that if you are down on your luck or you're just poor, maybe you're just depressed. They've got a machine, the suicide machine. They've been using it in Sweden or Switzerland or something. And now Canada has them. And they are promoting it. You know, they want people, you know, if you're down on your luck and you're depressed, you know, just come here and do this. And you know what I was thinking? Because this machine, it looks like some sort of space age pod machine. And supposedly it just sucks all the oxygen out of the thing. And then you're dead within 60 seconds and it's painless and blah, blah, blah. Who knows? There's any people coming out and saying, oh, yeah, that hurt. Like, I don't know. It just is, the whole thing, all of the stuff that these people do is so strange. This system is just, and the people don't even know. Like, if people really understood, it's just, oh my gosh, there's so much. So, anyways, to me, it is so fucking creepy because, so if they are, you're trapped in this container and then you are killed, where's your consciousness? Do they have some kind of sucking machine and they're sucking it out and then they're pulling it in some sort of AI thing and then they're going and emptying that into something else, plugging you into a computer? Like, I don't know. The whole thing seems real iffy to me. Real iffy. Like, there is no fucking way I'd go in some machine that they have, some high-tech machine, to go in and do myself in. And there's so many people who think like that's good. If we all should have the choice to do ourselves in. Well, if you understood what you were here about and what you're supposed to be doing, you wouldn't even be thinking about that. You would understand you're on a mission. You wouldn't be thinking like, well, I gotta hurry up and leave. I'm going AWOL on this one. Like, you gotta think like, well, I can handle these challenges. Obviously, I wouldn't have put myself through this. But people don't think on that level. So, that is totally ridiculous. I'll tell you another thing that's fucking ridiculous. I keep seeing the people talking about the Amber Alert in Canada as the government is trying to take this lady's child away because the lady doesn't want the child to have a spinal, which the spinal is what gave me a brain injury. So, fuck yeah, lady, don't let them do it. Like, medical is just practicing on us. It's even said that. Doctors are allowed to practice on us. It's all for practice. It's all experiments. It's all they're doing all the time. It's just, oh, does this work? Does this work? And if we knew what we were doing, we wouldn't sign on to it. And the pressure that they put on to create compliancy, it's just, it's ludicrous. So anyways, this Amber Alert that just went all on Canada to capture this woman who's trying to save her own kid. And when I was talking about the other day about all the Amber Alerts, which I don't know if it was just on TikTok or if I just said it on here too, but all the Amber Alerts that we have dealt with for so long, where every time you go check and it was like a parent dispute. And so after a while, it's like, Jesus Christ, why do they keep doing these Amber Alerts on these parental problems? Like, these are not, like, can't they deal with their shit? And so, you know, you just stop paying so much attention to the Amber Alerts. But then you start hearing about, like, okay, so we've got kids that are disappearing, I think every 60 seconds. Some kids disappearing. And we aren't getting a damn Amber Alert. Not a damn one. Unless there's a woman who's trying to get her own kid. That's an Amber Alert. Because the government is outraged that you want your own kid. They've come out and said in so many places now, you know, that they're there to protect the kids. And their whole thing, that's the whole thing with schools and stuff. They've got a whole thing to try and get information so that CPS, another extension of the practice, can go into the house and tell you that they need to take your child out of the house. You walk around in your underwear too much or whatever. You know, they're just doing whatever excuse they can come up with. Like, you don't have rights into my life. You do not have rights over my child. And they just push and push and stuff gets more and more outrageous. It's just ridiculous. And the freaking amount of no Amber Alerts when all these kids are going missing, but there's fucking, I just like, oh my God. It is, I'm just, this is such nonsense. But, so today's the 22nd. So the 24th now, I'm hearing, like, I'm seeing some people who are just like, well, these dates, you know, they just come and go. So we'll see if anything's going to happen. And, you know, they're not holding any hope or any kind of weight to it. which, you know, it's the weight you put into it. It just depends on, you know, each person's own thing. It doesn't matter who's weighing in on what. I'm just sharing information. But so there's people who are very much like, you know, I'm not concerned at all. To me, it's like, yeah, a lot of these dates have come and gone, but they haven't had the backing. You know, they haven't had the sauce or whatever. These people always are looking for the sauce. I mean, we've got the queen now who is gone. We got Russia situation. We've got so many freaking tragedies going on. I mean, the thing in Iran right now is like, oh my gosh. And they are, it's going crazy there. Like the outrage and the trauma. I have seen so many TikToks about it now. Like, and it's crazy. And especially when you do consider the fact back in the 50s and 60s, 70s, that was the destination. That was the Rio de Janeiro. That was the place to go. It was really progressive. Everybody was really stylish. It was beautiful. And people went there for their vacations. You can look up the pictures and it was like, you know, super Hollywood glamour looking. And then, you know, what the Islamic Federation, whatever, came in and took over and, you know, told the women, you cover yourselves, they will kill you. And, you know, and they're doing it to, you know, a young girl like that. So people are freaking out. All the people are taking them off. They're cutting their hair. They're burning them. Like, it's going crazy. There's women in solidarity in America who are cutting all their hair off. Like, especially, it seems to me that the more liberal, progressive, the ones who were so outraged, like, you're not going to tell me I can't take my own baby out? What? You're not telling me about anatomy and all that stuff. You know, those ones that they also, you know, are very hands-made tale. Like, you know, my one daughter, two of my daughters were very focused on that. This is what's happening. This is happening. And so all of them are watching that and believing this is what's happening. So they're all in that, you know, looking through that lens. And so that's what they see. And they are the ones who are about this situation, are very much about in solidarity. And this is what they're doing. This is what's going to happen because that is what is shown in The Handmaid's Tale. And it's, you know, so anyways, but those things have to play out, those scenarios. Those are timelines. Those are realities for these people to learn through. It is like a portal of learning for different people through that lens. So they get to witness that so that they can understand that and process it. That's what I'm saying. I keep being so wheezy. And the weather is just fucking crazy here. It's fucking ridiculous. And the chemicals, when she won't stay in the house, she wants to be laying outside. She wants to go in and out, in and out. She has got so much of whatever is being on her is coming in and it gets all over the carpet. And then I'm breathing it in all day. It's like, oh, I'm just so, God, I cannot wait to stop being poisoned. So that drives me crazy. And the food, like when you go and you look and it's like, oh my God, every month. I can barely eat any bites of food without just, I start just feeling gross. Like, this is disgusting. And I feel like I for sure know what crickets taste like at this point. And then when I just saw yesterday, like the whole thing coming out with the products that have the, I'm just going to say pink goo because you can't say what the whole thing is. But you know what I'm talking about. The thing that these women are outraged, they're trying to stop them from doing when the rest of us are like, you don't know what they're doing with that stuff. We don't want to eat it anymore. Please stop getting them. We're sick of eating it. And the whole thing with the Soylent Green, I mean, Gates now owns the majority of the farmland or something. You know, and this is all, just keep in mind, this is all just for show. This isn't going to really play out, but it's the show. But he owns all of this property, and he's gotten in all these states that now you can spray human on all of the stuff. So he's actively been doing that, like the Soylent Green. And so what I saw this one talking about is created us to be the cans, you know what I'm saying? And so we all have been eating our own essentially for the whole time. And that creates so much disease and so much instability in people's emotions and stuff. So all of that is coming from this consumption of ourselves that they are doing to us on purpose, on top of the chemicals and stuff. But the thing that just really got me yesterday was they've put out the list of the different companies that have it in it. Everything you drink that's bottled, basically, even some of the waters, but everything you drink that you go to the store, you know, 7-Eleven or whatever, and you go back to the thing where there's all the soft drinks, all of the, I mean, it's in everything. It's the tea, all of it. So it's in all of that. The thing that got me, of course, was it's in all the Nestle's products, all Cadbury products, but see that glitch just then? The Coffee Mate, the motherfucking Coffee Mate. And I remember I was just like, oh, it tastes so good. It tastes so good. Why? Why? Oh, cold. Just like, oh, goddamn. So many fucking crickets about, oh, goddamn. Just so disgusting. But, so I think all the signs are there. Something I'm expecting is going to go down. And I have seen more people saying there's 2 weeks of, you know, not being able to have internet or any of that stuff. And I'll tell you something that was strange this morning is, so I was suddenly just awake. It was 2:30 in the morning. I didn't know what time it was. And I was just laying there, and I was thinking, oh, I'm just going to go back to sleep. And I kept tossing and turning, and I kept thinking, man, if I just feel like I'm awake, and I feel like it's probably 2 in the morning. So I count like, okay, so I've only been asleep like 5 hours and I feel awake. Like, okay, I just need to go back to sleep. And then it's Stella, I heard her whine or something. Sometimes I think they are making noises. So I think she is. And then I come out and she's just laying there asleep. But then me coming out wakes her up. So I gave her some medicine and I went back and laid back down. And so I'm laying there trying to relax. And I'm like, I just want to go back to sleep because it was 2:30. And I was like, I just want to go back to sleep. And so I'm tossing and turning. And then I must have dozed off for like a second. And immediately I was in this dream. And so it was like I was with somebody. I don't know who I was with, but I was with somebody. And we were talking about the sky. And we were looking out windows or something. And everything looked so fake. The clouds looked, everything. It was like these little round puffy balls everywhere. It was just the weirdest looking thing. And so I wanted to get my phone to get pictures or to get video because I was like, well, I got to show this. This is weird. And it almost looked like we were looking out a spaceship window or something. It was very strange. And so I went to get my phone, and when I picked it up, it just went crazy. It just was glitching and glitching and glitching and glitching. It went off, and then Stella woke me up. And then after I got up, I was like, okay, so are you all telling me that it is something about the sky and there is going to be no power? Is that what y'all are saying? So I don't know. That's how I was taking it, that there is going to be something with the sky. And I heard somebody yesterday saying something about this, something like the solar flash thing, some kind of sunburst or something that is supposed to happen. And when that happens, it's going to, you know, knock off the power and stuff. I can't remember what they were calling it. Because we get these solar flashes all the time. And when you go and listen to the energy people, then they say, you know, that's this energy coming into the planet to help people expand their consciousness. So these energetic things keep happening to help us raise our vibration. And so I know that the big event is a really big one. That is when everything will change. And this could be it. I don't know. I seriously don't know, you know, if this is the big one. It doesn't make sense to me if it is. It's not how I would imagine it would play out, because I think that people have to wake up and heal before that happens, you know, but I don't know. I mean, maybe just to me, there would be people who would be taken away that were, that hadn't even woke up yet. So to me, there has to be the Great Awakening part, you know, way before there's the part where, you know, people aren't making their real choices right now, to me, but I don't know. That's what we got to see how it plays out. But, so this solar flash thing, but it didn't, how he was explaining, because I was listening to him to see if he was explaining it like how I understood it before when I used to hear about the event. Because now they're even explaining, they're calling it the event, but they are explaining it different. To me, when I hear, I've gone in and listened to a few people, and when they're explaining it, it seems like they're talking about the same thing as me. Like there's going to be a big thing that's going to happen that's going to make all this disclosure where everything is going to be shown to us. It's going to reset the money and it's going to change everything. And that's what I keep thinking is going to happen. And then it's in this healing process that the outrage of the global outrage, when people really realize the amount of lies and corruption that have gone on to control them, that sends out to create the other big energetic rebound that will go through, that will be the big reset. That's when we will go into that part where everything will get messed up, and then we have to recreate everything. So I don't know for sure. This is, you know, everything, when you get things, it's all a translation. It's all trying to understand. And, you know, we're all looking through different lenses. So this guy was saying that there's going to be some big solar flash thing. And then he was saying about, but it just wasn't explaining it the way that I had heard before. But that it was going to do basically the same thing, but it was going to knock out the power and stuff. So we were going to have no power for a couple weeks. Like, that's pretty consistent between where everybody's saying that we're not going to have any power, any internet, nothing. I mean, I don't even think, like, I don't know. I don't know. I swear to God, they were saying we wouldn't have water and stuff. I guess water plants can close down. But see, everything has to stop because we're going to reset it all. We're not going to keep having this gross-ass sewage water turned into drinking water by using chemicals and then killing us with our fucking poison. And then we're not going to have that anymore. And we're, Western medicine, we're not going to have that anymore. And there's going to be so many lawsuits. That's going to go down. Pharmacy, the whole industry, the whole corporation that was been in control is going to go down. But there's so many steps to the process. Like, there's so many people that don't even know that we're like in a coup or something, you know? Like, there's just a lot. So I think that this is going to be a lot more spread out. Like, people, I think, are expecting everything's going to be all, you know, sunny and rainbows after this, you know, this event. But I think it's just the beginning of the healing. And there's, just like when you see the footage in Iran, a entire giant group, like there was an officer walking down the street who began running and started being chased, and they started coming from every direction, got him on the ground and started beating him. He probably was beaten to death. I mean, they were all on top of him, kicking him, hitting him, pounding him. And don't forget how they said, when the people see, they will not be able to walk down the street. And that is what they've always feared. But I guess they shouldn't have done so much evil, because this is how some people react. Is anger and violence. And there will be, that's what I'm saying, there's a whole part to weeding that out. And there's a part to processing. So there's so much more to go on as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, we got to see what happens after this couple of weeks. But definitely, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to react like that. I think there is going to be people who are hunted down. I think there's going to probably be some local doctors hunted down by some dads and moms. Like, I think shit's going to get real, real hairy for a while after this goes down. Like, people are going to be begging to be arrested. Please put me in jail so I can be safe, because there's going to be so much anger. And you can see when some people get angry, they get very violent. And, you know, there's nothing that, I mean, we can put 1 million of us out here and just keep trying to get people to realize what this world is. And stuff. But, you know, that is stuff that they have to go through. And if, you know, whatever their lessons are, none of us can know. But this is stuff that we've all contracted in to experience. So, and it's going to be, I think there's going to be a lot of violence, you know, and there's a lot of people who are judging those guys, but they don't know what has gone on, like in some of these other countries, what people have gone through and how much anger and stuff is coming out. And so I think there is going to be a lot of violence, you know, but I think it is going to kind of be after disclosure, after people start seeing the truth. Because there's so many people that don't see the truth. Once they start seeing it, I think there is going to be violence. But, you know, I would recommend people don't go become violent. You know, really go internal and really heal your stuff. Because becoming violent just gives you more stuff to heal. Like, then you have hurt somebody and you've done, I mean, violence inside yourself is a hard demon to face. You know, so it is, it's not something I would want to face, but, you know, a lot of people are going to have to face that. So anyways, I just say that, you know, there's no telling what it's going to be. I think it's not going to be all of a sudden, you know, we're going to have this big thing happen and then everything's going to be great. There's going to be some things that are great, but it's going to be very hard for some people to even process. So when the reset happens, I mean, in my comments, I get it all the time. Well, what about my retirement? Well, what about my house? Well, what about my rent? Well, what about this? What about that? Like, people are just like, whoa, you know, and it's like, people, listen, this is going to be good for us. Their system has been corrupt. I mean, where you should have paid $20,000 for your house and they've jacked up inflated the cost to trap you into these payments of like $400,000, depending on the area, depending on the governor, depending on the whole way that the system maneuvers through our lives. Then you are paying these extraordinary prices because they are inflating it on purpose to trap you. And so that will be going away. They won't be able to do that anymore. And that's going to relieve us. But your house is going to go down to what it would really be valued at. And that's going to bring it back to prices where everybody can afford a place. And then with the thing about, just a second, it just popped in and it popped in and then I kept talking about the other thing. Let me think. Okay, so the houses, the rent, so the loans won't, when the bank goes down, they can't ask you for any more money. It's like they made illegal contracts. And so then you just keep the thing that was in the contract. They screwed themselves, you know, they don't get to have a lien on your place anymore because of their illegal doings. So they're going down for their illegal practices and stuff. And so another one that people are so concerned about is their retirement. And it's like, well, you don't really have retirement. You never did. It was all an illusion. It's just this money laundering system. And they use that to invest in other things, but they've overinvested. Everything is collapsing. So that's no longer there. There's been people throughout this that have already been losing their retirement. There was a huge thing in Spain. It was like a huge retirement too, like the teachers or something retirement. And every person, the place went down because they're all over betting, you know, and then everybody lost their retirement, but it was like, there was never really there. It's all just an illusion. And so, you know, trying to get people to understand that, you know, that is your lesson. This is what you're coming to learn, that you have dedicated your life and time to this concept, this idea, and now it's being taken away from you, and you have to process, you know, what that means and how you got yourself there and why you had expectation. Why did you think like, you know, I will go and work and I will give them my money and then they'll give me extra back at the end. And, you know, we just all played the game. And we just, you know, kind of hoped for the best, hopefully, you know, and a lot of people are going to find out that, you know, they were getting screwed the whole time. They were just, you know, giving money to gamblers and they gambled away all your money. So, you know, that is a hard one. A lot of people are really going to be devastated that all their money they worked for, and they can become violent, they can become depressed, they can become, you know, active and resilient and understand and let it go. Like, it is, you know, it's everybody's own lessons, but there's so many lessons that are coming up with all this stuff. And it's going to be in every different way. I mean, the medical tyranny, the government, you know, trying to take people's kids through CPS, through schools, through all of it. You know, there's so many things happening. People's rights, people, you know, like that girl, she was definitely a martyr. She was definitely, that happened so she would start this whole event, this whole succession of events, you know, as a soul. You know, she did that. She did this. It's a true martyr. You know, she started a movement by, you know, her short life. You know, the 22 years, and you know, look at what she has done. More than most people do with 80, 90 years. You know, she's really created people to wake up and to stand up for themselves. And that is everything that is going on. So I think that that is what is going to be going in the next couple of weeks, is the disclosure, bringing up so much anger, so much pain, so much devastation, so much lessons, so many things that have to happen. So it's not going to just all of a sudden be like, oh, you know, but for those of us who have been healing and we are aware of what's going on, it's not going to feel like it's going to feel for some of these people. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Just think about some of all the different things and the division and everything that has been going on. You know, there's so much to heal, so many wounds that are open. And so we have to go through all of that stuff. And that is, I think, is the healing. Then, to me, is when it would be, you know, the harvest or whatever, was when the souls really do make a choice for themselves. You know, are they going to become resilient and healed to move into this new age, or are they going to just go through their lessons and, you know, and then go to another reality that they just came for those lessons? That, to me, is the rapture, the divide, the harvest, whatever. And I just don't see how they can do that yet. So, I don't know. I mean, we got people who are reserving their space in the new earth. We got people, I mean, there's so much out there. And I certainly can't say, well, I'm the one who's right on everything. Everybody else is wrong. And who knows? Maybe it's going to just divide and fracture into a million different collectives. I don't know. Maybe we're all going to go with our group and go into the reality of our choosing. And then the weird thing is, too, is I don't feel like I'm just choosing my reality. It's they're telling me what my reality is. I'm listening and just walking the path that they tell me to follow. I'm not creating this stuff. They are showing me where I need to go and what I need to do and where I need to be. So, I don't know. It's just, you know, there's a lot. And, you know, it's super early. I've been talking a long time. But I definitely won't be able to record once the power and stuff goes down, obviously. You know, we're going to all be cut off from each other. So I may, you know, still do some videos and then download them once it's over. I probably will if I can get my phone on. What they showed me in the dream, though, the phone was just glitched out. It wouldn't even do anything. But if I can record, I'm going to, you know, record, or what is that? Is it just record? I'm going to record what goes on during to document what goes on during the time. So, and then I'll probably download them once we get power again, you know. So I don't know. We'll see. I may download 10 videos, 14 videos all of a sudden after things clear out to explain. But everybody's going to be going through their own devastation, their own stuff. But I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be looking for sanity and places to heal and people to talk to. And so, anyways, you know, just keep that in mind. There is going to be so many people who are just confused and needing somebody to, you know, help them understand what's happening. So, anyways, I may record again later today, just because there keeps being, I feel like I probably didn't even cover everything. And I feel like I'm just getting flooded with information. Hopefully I'm saying anything that has any value or is worthwhile to somebody, is helping somebody, because that's the whole point of it. So anyways, I will talk to you later. Bye.